Hey, folks, welcome to another episode of the Security Table, where we are pondering the fact, or not even the fact, but the idea that is Izar a
Yes.
Gen AI?
Yes.
Is this just a video feed we're seeing that's being generated by a Gen AI? And then, just based on some statements he made about being quantum a few seconds ago before
My
we
name from now on is Mean Headroom.
me.
You know.
Yeah, but where's the choppy video
Yeah.
and the funky background?
Yeah, that's beyond my.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Was that a movie?
That was a TV
No.
series, unfortunately.
On MTV.
Was that an HBO show, though?
No,
MTV.
it
Was
was
it MTV?
It was MTV.
You got to install microwave.
If it was on on HBO, it would have been a lot better.
And it would have ruined it.
I just remember it, but I don't remember any of the context of it.
Of course, because it's just
memory.
It's just the talking head that you remember.
It's just like Max Headroom. Max Headroom. I don't remember what he did. Did he solve crime, or did he save puppies, or what did he do?
There was some live action part.
It was a TV series between 1987 and 1988.
Yeah, it was on for one season or two seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good time.
Okay. I just couldn't remember the context of what it was. So
20 minutes in the future, the world has become imbued with network television. It's illegal to turn off your TV, and televisions are given to the needy. In this world, Network 23 has a right-rated news program with a roving reporter called Edison Carter. Blah, blah, blah. Plots to cover up little first. Almost killed.
Yeah.
Max Headroom.
Yeah. He's
RoboCop for news.
I was gonna say it's RoboCop and something else. Oh my God, what the hell? Anyway, yeah, it was okay.
Based on that description, I literally tuned out to what you were reading after about one sentence and a half.
Oh, so you got it.
You need the image of Max Headroom.
I remember the image of Max Headroom, but that description was like, wow, this sounds really boring. Which is probably what the audience thought too. Okay, so let's set up what we want to talk about here, because we've got an article. Often we do as inspiration. And I just have to find the article. Okay, the article's title is How to Say No Well. And it literally has a picture of Scooby-Doo. I just noticed in the little blog post picture. So I don't know, is that like, I don't know, I mean, maybe there's a Scooby-Doo reference in here somewhere.
I mean, if you look at it closely, which finger is he holding up?
Is it the middle one?
Which
no, it's the first. It's the index finger.
It is, but it looks really close.
Wait, yeah, but dogs don't have fingers. Hold on. Stop the presses.
Yeah, but
no, it's turned as a question.
Scooby-Doo does have fingers. We've seen this in the episodes. Yes, absolutely.
Dogs don't have
fingers.
No, dogs don't have fingers, but Scooby do.
All right, so here's a crazy idea. Scooby-Doo is actually an alien. He
Remove the mask. Remove the mask.
He could talk. He could say zoinkers and
ruh-roh.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen the YouTube videos of dogs that speak more than a few words?
And I think they're aliens as well. This is very quickly turning into a paranormal podcast.
So we can get a whole new demographic of people here.
Well, I'm not going to say it was aliens, but it was.
Was it Agent Scully or Mulder who said the truth is out there?
I want to believe, but I don't know who.
Whole other episode. All right, so this article says how to say no well. And I'll read the first sentence. Security's push to avoid being the Department of No has overcorrected. And they do, one of the things I was chuckling about, they do make fun about the fact that lately every B-side seems to have a talk on avoiding the no and reframing security teams as a Department of Yes.
Be an enabler, not a roadblock.
Why do we have to be so positive? Like, what's wrong with no? I like saying no. I happen to enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the looks on people's faces when I say no.
Yeah, but every time that you say that, I get a glimpse of Martin Sheen on his knees going, oh, and
Well, that's a completely
it's
different
just not,
scenario.
you know,
Yeah,
it's
but
just not what happens.
None
So
shall
even-
pass. None shall pass is the better reference.
but even before we get to security, like I like saying no. I find myself I'm just passed over the 50-year mark of life. I'm 51 now.
And now you're curmudgeon-y.
I say no a lot more than I say yes because
Child.
here's what I find. You guys tell me if you have this same experience. Okay. Somebody will ask me about something. They will say, "Hey, in 6 months, do you want to do this?" And I'm always past, before 50-year-old me is always like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And then do you know exactly what happens? We get to the week before the event, and I'm like, why did I say that I would do this? Why? I do not want to travel to Istanbul to speak to. I don't have a problem with Istanbul. It was the first thing that came to my mind. Like, I don't want to fly to Istanbul for 27 hours to speak to, 5 people in a hotel
us meet up.
conference room. Us meet up or something. And so what I realize now though is like I just need to say no up front. So I say no up front a lot more to things now because I think about I factor it through future me. I look at future me shaking my fist, going, "Why did you say you would do this?"
As long as at least you're consistent and you're clear, as opposed to let's see what happens in 3 months from now.
But
Yeah, well,
here's
check
the
in with me
thing.
after the holidays.
Here's the thing. You just perfectly exemplified the thing. For good or bad, the department is the adult in the room. You have all the developers running around at shiny things and going, let's write this, let's write the other one, let's give this kind of capability. And the security is going, no, don't touch that. Let that drop it.
Don't put that in your mouth. You don't know where that's been.
So, as the adult in the room, once upon a time, it was great to say no, or I'm going to stick you through the head. But nowadays you can't. So you just have to say nice no's, letting people know that their ideas are valued, being listened to. Yeah, sure, why not? But at the end of the day, the buck stops with security.
Does it?
Does
it really?
Yeah. It used to. My new philosophy is I am great at identifying risk. You own it. I'm not waking up at 3 in the morning because of your risk. I'm going to tell you that it exists. You're going to sign off on it, but you own it.
This goes back to we've had this conversation about DevSecOps and ownership and accountability and capability, right? So yeah, we definitely in security find problems. We identify risk and we communicate that to the business. Business does own it because ultimately they're going to make the decision based on what security says today. Are we really giving them the capability by not being truthful with them? So if we say yes all the time, then obviously we're not looked at as a roadblock in any way, shape, or form. But are we really giving the right information to make a truly informed decision? As opposed to, well, we don't recommend you do that. Okay, no. But
no. That's the thing. You just said no, but that's not what you're saying. You're saying yes, but
I'm not.
You're saying, hey, you know what? You want to do this thing? Sure, why not? But
no, I know Matt.
I would like you to do first.
His personality is more likely saying no, but here's why. Whereas I would agree in general, Izar, I think the principle you're sharing is correct. I think Matt is a unique individual who is actually thinking no, but
how can I make this a positive as opposed to?
But Matt is the good one. He's always been the nice one.
Out of this group, Matt is the nice one, which is very frightening. Very frightening.
I'm reminded, and let's date ourselves yet again. I'm reminded of a line in The Island of Dr. No, it was called, the James Bond movie. Where James Bond is
you're You're mixing two movies, Island of
It's not
Dr.
Island of
Moreau
Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, I'm mixing it.
and Dr. No.
It's Dr. No. Yeah.
So it's Dr. No. And James Bond is like, he's
The play,
stapled,
no.
he's stapled to the wall.
Add a third movie in here.
No,
It's a TV
he's stapled
show.
to the wall.
Treasure Island. No, Love Boat. No,
No,
Treasure Island.
Treasure Island, yeah.
Treasure Island.
Okay, so Dr. No. And James Bond is stapled to the wall, and Dr. No is going through his plans as nefarious.
No, wait, isn't he on the
Yeah.
table with the laser?
No. The laser is the other one. The laser is with the sharks.
That's Austin Powers.
And that's the name I was trying to remember. Anyway, so he's in the wall, and Dr. No is going through his nefarious plans as those guys are wont to do.
Obviously, yes. They have to reveal the
James
whole
Bond-
plan just before.
Wait. Here's the ringer. And James Bond goes, "But what do you expect me to do?" And he turns to the camera and says, "I expect you to die, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die." So it's basically, they come to us and say, "I want to do this." And we say, "No." And they say, "So what do you want me to do?" And then the next line is,
I expect you to die. That's what we're supposed to tell them. Is it-
but
Is that the
sometimes
moral
it's
of the
all you
story?
can think of.
is it we're supposed to tell the people we work with, we expect you to die.
No.
Okay. No, you have
The
to-
risk will lead the project to not succeed.
You have to say you have to erase that feature from your PRD.
Stay.
You idiot. Okay, so let's get back to this Department of No thing, though. Like, I think that this article does have some correctness in that we have overcorrected so far into we have to be cognizant of everybody's feelings, and we don't want anyone. That's what the article said. Oh,
But I'm just trying to know.
You're practicing. Okay, I see. No, but I mean that's what it's saying is like you can't say no because it's good. And the article even described it the inverse of this as shades of toxic positivity, where we prioritize harmony over hard truths, risk acceptance as a cargo cult. I don't know what a cargo cult is.
Wait, that's an
I
Izar
already
term.
explained.
Okay, hold on. Let's unpack the whole thing though. So shades of toxic positivity. I can honestly say that is not something anyone has ever accused me of in my entire life, of being too positive. Like, you're just too positive. That was too positive of an answer.
Don't you have ponies in the farm?
No. No ponies yet.
You're,
But no, I mean,
positively positive.
Is this something that's like generational?
It must be. I mean, we're all of that age that you described earlier.
It's probably a side effect of crypto fairy dust. People believe too much and they're flying around.
The crypto
not
fairy
everything-
dust, is that where you snort blockchain or Bitcoin or like what? I'm
No. It's from before. It's when you script it, when you just put SSL and everything, and all of a
Oh,
sudden
yeah.
you're secure.
TLS gives you wings.
Yeah.
It does. It does. So that's true though. It does.
It does.
It makes you more powerful.
It does. Encryption solves everything, right?
So it does solve a lot. I miss, other than when the quantum computers can break all the encryption.
So
Instantly.
there are. So just ignoring the article for just a moment, there is another way to go, and you could go with the 5 whys. Why do you want to do that?
Oh.
Yeah, why? Just ask why.
So that's the thing. Lately, I've been working with 3 whys, and I noticed that whenever I bring risk,
I thought you said
developer-
3 wives. I'm like, wait, what?
Well,
Hold
yeah,
on,
you
come
have
back
more
around.
money.
Did you move
No.
to Utah? I mean,
But you said the 3 whys. Okay,
Dude,
3. Let
one-
me just clarify.
One
3
is already
whys.
so hard, and I just don't have the energy for more than one. No.
we're gonna get canceled so bad.
No. People don't cancel. You don't get canceled anymore.
Oh, that's right.
So-
Okay.
No.
Canceling is canceled. So.
Okay.
Anyway, 3 questions that evoke the reason for doing something. Okay? So, the point is, somebody comes to me and says, I want to do this. And I tell them, here's the risk. Here's the chances that it's going to happen. And here's what I would prefer you to do. And my first question is, why? Answer, usually saying, why do I believe that that's going to happen? The second question, surprisingly, is why? Because now they're asking, how do I know the thing that I'm saying? And the third question is, surprise, surprise, why? Why do I think that what I know is actually going to happen? And I noticed that if I let it get to the third one, I basically lost it.
Well, because
So,
they're going back with you, right? They're pushing on your boundaries.
but not only that, at some point I have to give up the fact that I don't have data to support what I'm saying past my
Oh,
experience and some indicators here and there.
you should
So
always
they're
have a backup.
using-
You should
So
always have
they're
a backup.
using the 3 whys on you as
Yeah.
a security person.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're going to be a security person, you should start with why. Don't start with yes or no. Start with why.
That is true. That is true. You're telling them, hey, listen, you should check your input because if you don't, injection things will happen, right? But then they come to you and say, why? And I'm like, because people want to do bad things to your system, so bad things will happen. And they go back to why? Well, because there is a motive in here and they are going to get something out of it. And he's going, why? And if you got to that third why, then the discussion has gotten to a point where no substantial argument that you bring can be made to bypass the fact that they completely ignore the risk. And they completely ignore the fact that somebody is willing to do that bad thing.
No, I think, well, maybe, I'll say maybe here, because there's an alternative. They don't know. There's a knowledge gap.
Yeah.
You should be using this as a learning opportunity.
Then it's a discussion from authority. You have to do this because I'm telling you and I know. But again, I can't bring to the table.
So you want to strong arm the developers is what you're saying.
That's what we used to do.
No. I want them to be Boy Scouts and do it because it's the right thing to do.
But you know what though? That's the thing we've been talking about. So this, I'm going to throw a whole other grenade into the closet here. That's something we've been talking about for 20 years. As long as OWASP has been, as long as OWASP has been around is when I can draw the lineage to this. We haven't really won anything.
Don't get me started on OWASP developers. We have
that's
20 years now.
Yeah, but I wasn't aiming at OWASP. I was just saying I was using OWASP as a yardstick to how long the problem space has existed.
Yeah.
And my point is, have we really achieved much in this developer-centric security thing of getting developers to own security?
How many CVEs a year? I mean, if we're on a
20,000?
exponential path here.
Yeah.
Forget about that. How many security questions are being asked when a developer is being interviewed for a job?
Yeah. So I guess the question is, have we lost, or do we need to do something different?
We're pushing the rock sideways, not up.
We haven't lost. I think that we are at yet another inflection point with the whole AI thing that we've been hearing about, where for 20, 30 years, we've been trying to get developers to do the right thing. But we have focused on building the science, building the art, building the things that we do as security and apps, and occasionally reaching out to the other side and saying, hey, could you do this thing together with me? Or could you do this thing by yourself? And now we are on this inflection point where people are looking around and saying, soon we will have no more developers. I swear, I hope that never happens. But the code that's being generated is bad, and the people who are reading the code to see if it's bad are looking for the wrong things that we would for. So we are at this tip point that I think that if we miss this one again, it's going to take a long recover and a lot of energy to recover.
So AI is not the solution then.
Hell no.
We're admitting, I'm throwing on the table here. We've been at this for 25 plus years, and we really haven't made a dent in developer-centric security. We
have created tools and we have created workflows, but they haven't been institutionalized.
So we've done things, but my point is we have not changed behavior.
They're band-aids at this point.
Exactly.
Behavior has not changed. Why? What do we need to do differently then?
We need to go
unlock this missing behavior change.
We need to go. We need to go back. I think we've talked about this before as well. We need to get that into course curriculums at the high school and college level.
I mean,
Yes.
that's a
Yes.
10-year. Is it a 10-year
You asked
solution?
you asked what we need to do.
Yeah.
Right. So there's an option is get developers
solve it with
early.
an executive order.
What I've found. Oh, right, executive order. There we go. That'll save the world.
Boom.
But I think the part of the challenge with that,
put
like
tariff-
that is
put tariffs on bad code.
that's a good idea. We'll do that. But to your point though, like changing the university system, well, and that's something I've said for a long time as well. Like I think it's what we need to do. Do I think it's possible? Anything is possible. Do I think it's easy? No, because those people don't. Every time I try to reach out to academia to say, hey, I'm somebody in industry and I would love to help influence the next generation, I get crickets because they don't want people like us coming into their playground.
No, that's not it. That's not it, because their playground is a completely different sphere.
For them, they think it is.
Academia does not produce developers.
No, true.
They are working on a completely different set of things.
It should produce developers.
I had to refute somebody asking me, hey, why doesn't this conference has an academic track? And I had to explain to them that I don't want to be listening about people saying that if a firewall was a perfect sphere in a vacuum, then this and this other thing would happen. That's not how shit works in the real world, right?
So here's the other challenge. We focus on the wrong people. So if we're going to those colleges or wherever, you're going for computer science programs, but computer science people are not developers.
Exactly.
You need the forestry folks, you need the botanist folks, you need biology folks, you need political science folks. Those are the ones who are producing developers these days.
There I'm going to disagree.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I think that you had the solution when you started talking about it, going to high schools. The same way that there's a push, at least in this country, for people to think twice before going to an academic career and go more to the practical stuff. Electricians, plumbers, all that thing. My point is that now with the changes that we are seeing, and I don't want to touch on the honor and pride of anybody here, but I think that we are going to see developers taking the side of a more practical craft.
Mm-hmm.
And the same way that you have master plumbers, you're going to have master developers. Because those are people who are going to be writing code closer to the machine, while a lot of lofty people are going to research and push out prototypes that are going to be developed over time into products and stuff like that. So I think that I
don't agree in general with what you're saying. Like this is knowledge work versus like white collar versus blue collar. You can say you don't like those terms or whatever. It is what it is. It's a cultural
office work
phenomenon.
versus warehouse work or whatever.
Yeah,
but that's
there is a difference. There is certainly electrician, plumber, HVAC people. I love those people. I think and that's what I recommend that like kids that don't know what they want to do with their lives. That's what I recommend they do. And for real, because think about it. How old is the person who provides those services for you? Mine are all in their 60s.
Yeah.
Mine are in their 60s. They're very successful people because everybody looks down on them, but they make over $1 million a year because they have 3 trucks that roll. But my point is, it's a development. Becoming a developer is something that is at a different level of knowledge working than electrician, plumbing, HVAC. And I'm not looking down on those people, but think about how much has being an electrician changed in the last 10 years? Like how much has how much has the knowledge base of an electrician evolved in the last 10 years?
There's some with smart homes and other devices.
But in general, you still wire a house the same way. Right. You wire a panel the same way.
Auto mechanics have changed completely.
Well, they have the way they diagnose problems has changed. They still got to take the brake pads off and put the brake pads on.
Yeah,
What
but
has
now on top of
changed
that, they
is,
have to understand the codes. They have to understand why the computer is not working. They have to understand what to do
well, I
if the
think they
computer is not
just,
immediately
in
available.
general, they replace the computers. They don't they don't
That's the thing.
troubleshoot but it's how they get it's how they get diagnostics. But my general point is a developer is always going to be different than an electrician, because in the developer's world, the what their knowledge, that the things they need to know are evolving at an exponential rate.
But
New
the way that
frameworks
they,
come out, new
but
languages.
the way that they learn should be the same. You don't need a developer spending their first year thinking if epsilon is as small as we want and it goes close to infinity, then what happens to this function?
Yeah, I mean, nobody does that in the real world.
But they should have the same pipeline as a plumber or a
Oh, so you're saying from
handyman.
like a career progression, like a
Yeah.
guild? Because I've heard that, like, I have a friend that runs a software development company here in the Raleigh Durham area, and they have they have that idea. They practice from a software development perspective what you are describing here. They call it their software development guild,
Mhm.
and you start as a apprentice, and you make your way up through a progression to become I don't think they call it a
Master
master
coder.
coder anymore. I don't remember what they have a term for, like, the top, when you get to the top upper echelon of, and part of it is your own knowledge and experience and ability, and part of it is bringing other people along, being a teacher of other, because, like, you can't say you're a top anything if you can't teach other people how to do it
Right.
At some
or
point, a
make them
stepping stone,
better.
a milestone for those stepping stones needs to be your code is safe, your code is secure.
So,
Oh no, you just had to throw that into.
Yeah,
well, I
totally. Because
I really kind of want to think about this a little bit more, touch upon this a bit more. This actually sounds really interesting. So today, if you're in a company that does software development, and we should probably preface this with, I imagine there are large companies and some and mid and small companies that have actual um, developer as an engineering role with a proper progression from junior engineer all the way up to some senior top level engineer. And there's a scale that has measurable milestones and whatnot. But a vast portion of companies, I imagine, don't. They have developers who come in for certain jobs and they don't have an engineering function. They don't have a role for that normally. I would imagine there are some at least that don't do that. So if we so let's first start with take a company that has a regular engineering function. If you switch that to a apprenticeship type or trade type progression, does anything change? And ignore for a moment if you change the curriculum or change the requirements because that will change it automatically. But if we just change it up to make it more like the progression from a plumber or
Mhm.
from an electrician, does anything change? What do you keep in? What do you put out? Right. So, for instance, is architecture and design part of the developer track, part of
Well, and
that
that's
developer
you're getting
progression?
into the curriculum side of it. I think the big challenge with with something like that is, can the organization is the organization willing to accept it? Because one of the things I saw at a big, and I'm going to say the name this time around, the big technology company that I might perhaps used to work at, was they had a very well defined career ladder
Mhm.
progression for every job role. But the challenge was there were only so many slots in a given 300-person organization that were available every calendar year. So you could have two people on your direct team of 10 out of the organization size of 300 that were just killing it. But you couldn't get those two people promoted at the same time, even though you had the career ladder, the progression, everything made sense.
Yep.
It was a battle royale just to get the one person promoted up that ladder.
Right.
And so my point is, it doesn't matter what that we call the system and how beautiful the system is. If the organization doesn't stand behind it, it won't work. It won't be any different than what happens to.
Right. Now, having said that, the apprenticeship program or the electrician plumber program is not company dependent. It's industry dependent,
True.
right?
It's accepted way that they train people in that particular industry, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
And so would that work? And if that becomes a vehicle for introducing new types of skills or reinforcing certain skills, this is upending how business works today, right? If we were to even if this was even possible, but highly unlikely. But would that work? Would that be a meaningful path? Basically put coders, developers, architects, engineers into a process by which the industry would allow a progression, and then we get consistency across the industry because there would be standards. The other thing is electricians and plumbers have standards. They have individual code, like codes exist
Oh,
exist across communities, and you could
Yeah.
think about codes or policies existing across companies, but the standards are the same.
I don't even know who sets those standards, like from an electrician perspective. Like, who defines what an apprentice is versus a journeyman versus a master electrician?
they
Is there
have
like a
guilds.
And the guild sets the standard.
Yeah, I think so.
doing some research here on the fly
Yeah.
because I don't know. I like
Gentlemen,
the
find your
idea.
agents.
Yeah, that's right. I
OSHA.
hate it.
OSHA sets
Agent.
OSHA sets safety standards. Um, maybe it's by state. Oh, that would be bad.
Be surprised.
National Electric Code. So the electricians have a code of
The code
natural electric
tends
code.
to be the rules of how you do electricity. Oh, it is determined by state, provincial, or local licensing boards.
Yeah, so maybe that would be a challenge.
Yeah, so it's not so the electrician even so there may be more diversity in the standards of what a journeyman electrician is than we realize as outsiders who aren't electricians.
Mhm.
Mm.
State by state, city by city, it's
Kind of
not.
like law. Kind of like law. Then law is state by state.
I always thought it was standard. If you would have
Yeah.
asked me before this conversation, like what defines an apprentice electrician, I would have said, "Oh, there's some standard somewhere that defines what it is." But it turns out there isn't. It's very determined by where you live.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that is very much so. Law is that way too, right? There's a base sort of everyone knows the same law, but then each state has potentially their own bar requirements.
I didn't know that either. So maybe we're breaking our own model here that we thought was going to be such a perfect answer.
Well, instead of it being state by state, it's company by company today, right?
Yeah, and that's the challenge is you can't get companies to agree about anything, much less dedicate the time to say we're going to create a system of
And,
growth for our engineers.
and herein, we just invented the reason why IC squared exists.
Oh man,
Driving consistency
Oh.
across a set of individuals, right?
That's
That's
true.
You had to go there.
I had
And
to because
I just dropped mine.
it is the answer, right?
I
know.
dropped mine this
IC
year.
No,
squared
it
is
one answer and a bad one.
it could be.
Oh,
It could be, but it fits the niche that we're talking about, right? Of there are different standards for what it means to be a junior versus senior engineer across different companies. How do you get consistency of capability? You make a certification process.
It does, but I have to ask again, did they okay. They haven't gone to developers. They are still security.
Well, it's because it's cost prohibitive and time prohibitive in part, but also developers are not full-time security people, right? I mean,
So
this
No.
is this is the certification process. If there was a different certification process for developers, and by the way, is there one? Is there an IC squared for developers, not for security, but for just how to code?
Think so.
I don't
yes,
think
I
so.
know.
I don't think so either. And if there were, why wouldn't you make, like there are domains for the CSSLP or the CISSP, why not have domains that could include security and privacy for developers?
Because it slows them down. We can't slow.
It doesn't slow them down if it's part of their base knowledge.
There is no base knowledge.
But
Base knowledge is can you pass this interview? That's the base knowledge.
That's how you get into the job, but then you have to be
are a
able
lot
to
of-
code.
Everything that everybody wants.
There
Nobody
are a
wants-
lot of developer-focused certifications that are not security related, though. Like, think about the just various cloud providers
Yeah.
have their own little certifications now. Like, you can be Red Hat certified. You can be, and these are not security things. These
Right.
are just general.
No, but that's
Do you know the
thing that-
portfolio, and do you know how to what they it's really how do you when should you apply this versus that? I mean, it doesn't necessarily tell you how to make rockstar bulletproof code. And I don't mean security bulletproof. I mean, like, functional. But those are mostly marketing certifications, more so
Right.
than I mean, they not to devalue anyone's
So they-
certificates that they have.
ChatGPT does say, like, organizations like IEEE or the British Computer Society have had certifications or credentials aimed at validating certain software engineering skills. So there's, I didn't know that.
They exist.
I didn't know that's what IEEE
I had
did.
no clue.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, ACM, right? American
Yeah.
American Computing Machinery or Association of Computing Machinery.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It makes sense that they would have those. I mean, and then you have ISO standards, right? That could be
Yeah.
a baseline.
But it's funny that those haven't taken off like the security certifications of the world have.
Somebody has sold security certifications as a value to the business.
Yeah.
Do you know why? It's the Kerberos problem. It's
Explain more.
It's a third party of trust. As a consumer, and you're a supplier, you can tell me that your developers are good, or that your security people are good, or I can trust this other organization that vouches for you.
True.
It's the PKI problem, right?
It's passing off the trust to a third party.
Right.
Outsourcing trust.
Which is how security works a lot today. TLS works that way today.
So,
SSO.
Interesting.
Yep. Mutual OAuth, right?
So we haven't solved any problems. All we've done is circled around a number of problems.
We've
solved
avoided the
anything.
question of yes or no.
No, we
pretty
haven't.
much-
no, we haven't.
No, we have.
Yes, we have. And
I'll keep going with yes, but it's working for me. And people seem to like.
That
if
was
you
kind of
start
one of the
if you start with yes, and then and go with the but, what you're saying to the developer is, okay, I can go, because they don't care about the but,
Yeah.
because that slows them down. You need to start with the no, but.
I heard somebody else describe it as yes if.
Yeah.
As
If and
a
yes, but
different
for
way.
me,
It's
it's the
not
same thing.
yes, but it's like it's yes if you do this. So can I build this feature this way? Yes, if you add multi-factor authentication to it, because it's
Yes, but I need you to do
accessibly-
these things before.
And
Yeah.
I would switch that around to if yes, because again, yes, block.
if yes, block. Yeah, gotcha.
Go to
I'm
the
just
grocery
coding it up real
store,
quick.
bring me bread, and if there were eggs, bring me 2.
If condition true, else false.
Now you're speaking too much of their language.
I'm
They'll
s-
think that you're one of them.
Oh, really? Is that a problem?
All right. I can't hang up on this episode until I understand what a cargo cult is. And so
Okay.
Izar was going to explain this to me.
So-
But it's in the article. Hold on, just in case this is about to get me in trouble.
And
It
we
says risk acceptance as cargo cult as one of the
Yeah.
reasons about security saying.
and we have spoken about this before. 'Cause
Yes.
I've had to explain this like 1,000 times, and I can't understand why. A cargo cult. So, the place is the Pacific. The time is the end of World War II. Natives in small islands had seen planes go by and drop supplies.
Oh, you did tell me this before. Okay. Keep
you
going, though.
see? You
Keep
people
going.
just don't take me
Case-
seriously enough
new
to
listeners.
remember.
Yeah, new listeners. Yep.
We have new listeners in Australia, so
Yeah, go
Just
ask Google. Get off the treadmill and go ask Google.
Wait, you can ask Google from the treadmill, right? We have
Oh,
the
that's
power.
that. Yeah,
It's-
there's
we
that
have the
too.
technology.
So that's right. So cargo cults, they thought that the natives thought that they were gods dropping things out of the planes.
So they would build airstrips in order to call for the gods to come and deliver.
Yeah.
So what do you want me to do? I want you to Google it, Mr. Bond.
How many movie references can we intermingle? The Island of Dr. Moreau saying no to Austin Powers.
How many do you want?
Han shot first.
That's true. Boba Fett's
Groovy,
defense.
baby.
Wasn't that the what was that called? What was it called? The new one, the new Star Wars show where it was about the bounty hunter guy.
Mandalorian.
There is
Mandalorian.
no new Star Wars.
You don't even want to get into that. In my opinion,
Th-
Star
th-
Wars.
this
Save
is
that
not-
for a different episode.
This is not the show that you want to watch.
Because this whole Star Wars thing. I just don't
No.
get everybody's appreciation of it. I don't understand it.
Star
I
Trek is
don't.
way better, but
I agree. Star Trek is so much more cerebral.
And
Like, it's an
Battlestar Galactica.
intellectual show. I never watched Battlestar Galactica.
Babylon 5.
Babylon 5.
Wasn't that just the rotating space station thing?
Well, they had gravity.
Oh yeah.
It was rotating because they had gravity. More importantly, Babylon 5 was the precursor to Battlestar Galactica. Battlestar Galactica.
Wait, what?
Battlestar Galactica 80s
Oh yeah, true.
was
Yep.
the answer to Star Wars. And
Yeah.
Babylon 5 was the answer to Star Trek without the whole peaceful thing
Yes.
and being blown by lasers every episode.
Oh wait.
wasn't
So
Babylon 5
DS9 was definitely not the DS9 and Babylon 5 were very similar.
Was Babylon 5
ignored-
part of the Star Trek universe?
No,
No.
and
Oh,
it was
okay.
not part of the Battlestar Galactica universe either. But it was
It's
very
independent.
similar. It was very independent, but very similar.
Babylon 5 came out at the same time that SGI came out with the Indigo boxes,
Mhm.
and that
Okay.
put special effects at the hands of everybody.
Oh my God, yeah.
For the life of me, Babylon 5 used those things
Every episode.
every episode. And if you happen to be working with Indigos at the time, you would look at it and like, am I still at work? And
I mean, JMS, J. Michael Straczynski, was masterful. He had mapped out the entire 5 or 6 season show, and then when it got canceled at season 4, it made it a little bit of a challenge. What do you
Yeah.
do? Or it was canceled. It was
hate it when
canceled
that
like
happens.
with almost the last season available, and they
And
had
then
to
you had
bring
the
it
movies.
back.
You know what?
the movies.
You know which show I'm still so annoyed that it ended the way that it did?
Warehouse
was the-
13.
If you
No.
don't say Firefly,
It
Well,
was
Firefly?
not- Firefly was only one season. It was called Last Man on Earth.
that was a good.
It was. I love those type of like post-apocalyptic, and this is a post-apocalyptic comedy with no monsters or anything. It's just people trying to survive after when they're the last people on Earth. But then they ended up canceling it, and so they had this cliffhanger, which wasn't a very good cliffhanger at the end of the final season, where the people came up out of the ground. Spoiler alert, wearing like gas masks or something, and then they canceled it. And I'm like, okay, just give me one more episode to wrap this thing up.
It's left an exercise to the reader, right?
I know.
So many shows get
Resident-
canceled.
Resident Alien. I mean,
Resident Alien. Yep, that was a good one. Did it get canceled?
that's really good. No, no.
good.
No. Not that I know.
We hate when things get canceled.
Yeah. Or
Firefly.
rushed. I mean, Firefly got canceled, and that was bad. Warehouse 13 got canceled, but they had a short season.
Did they do a
Warehouse
movie
13
to
was
close
great.
out? I thought they closed out Firefly. Didn't he make a movie?
Oh
to
yeah,
close-
Serenity.
They
It was
got to
Serenity.
make a
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
and they killed the best.
Yeah, because
Spoiler
there was such a fan uprising though when they canceled Firefly.
Broncos.
People were like petitioning in front of the studios and stuff.
No,
like,
they sent a ton of peanuts, I think, to the studio.
I believe they were
Yeah,
that was probably the most passionate fan base I've ever heard of as far as the end of the show.
It was a great show. Come on.
It was
Well, this has been a fun jaunt around the security table where we've much covered about 50 different topics.
and
so
we
this is-
avoided the question of yes and no.
And so I just want to leave our audience with this. When in doubt, say no, because in 6 months, you don't want to do it.
Wait, but if somebody asks if you're a god, you say yes.
You say yes, but
If. Yes, if you were in Thor's planet.
Yes, but I'm on a vacation
Oh my God,
right
how
now.
many-
I'm not doing any miracles.
As you wish.
Oh, that's inconceivable.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to this wild, wacky episode of the Security Table. Look forward to talking to you soon.